Welcome. You're listening to The Veiled Narrator. You may need to step away from the noise, sit in silence, and listen to what was never meant to be spoken aloud.
My name isn't important, but my job is. I review overnight security footage for a regional logistics company based in Columbus, Ohio. Nothing sensitive. Mostly warehouses, loading docks, parking lots. I work from home, third shift, watching hours of silence and fast-forwarded darkness. It's the kind of job that makes you notice patterns. I started in late October, filling in temporarily for someone who quit without notice. They told me it was burnout, too many hours, too much staring at screens. I didn't think much of it at the time. The first 2 weeks were uneventful. Trucks came and went, motion sensors tripped on raccoons. Occasionally, a night guard would walk through frame and wave at the camera like he knew someone was watching. Then I started noticing gaps. Not missing footage, missing time. On one camera at a storage facility near Grove City, the timestamp would jump forward by a few seconds, 5, sometimes 10. No glitch, no distortion, just a clean skip like someone had edited the file. I flagged it. IT said the system was fine. The skips kept happening, always between 2:12 and 2:17 a.m., always on the same camera. Camera 14 covered an interior hallway connecting two warehouse sections. No windows, no doors to the outside, just concrete floor, fluorescent lights, and a fire exit at the far end. Nothing ever moved through it. Until one night, something did. I was scrubbing through footage at double speed when I saw motion. Not enough to trigger the alert, but enough to make me rewind. A shape passed through the frame. Not fast, not blurred, just incomplete. Like part of it was missing. I watched it again at normal speed. The hallway lights flickered once, and for maybe 2 seconds, something crossed from left to right. I couldn't tell how tall it was. The proportions felt wrong. The head seemed too low, the shoulders too narrow. When it reached the center of the hallway, the timestamp jumped. 6 seconds gone. When the video resumed, the hallway was empty again. I checked the rest of the cameras. Nothing unusual. No alarms, no guards reporting movement. The next night, I stayed off fast forward. At 2:11 a.m., camera 14 was empty. At 2:12, the lights flickered. At 2:13, the camera feed skipped. When it came back, something had changed. There was a dark mark on the floor. Not a stain, more like a shadow that didn't match the lighting. Long and uneven, starting near the left wall and ending just short of the fire exit. I enhanced the contrast, zoomed in. It wasn't on the floor, it was under it. Like something beneath the concrete was close enough to show through. I reported it again. This time they told me to stop overanalyzing compression artifacts. The phrase stuck with me. Compression artifact. That's what they called the next thing I saw. On the fourth night, at exactly 2:14 a.m., the shape stopped in the middle of the hallway. It didn't cross. It turned, and for the first time, it faced the camera. There was no face, just a smooth, darker absence where one should be. No features, no reflection from the lights. The feed didn't glitch, the timestamp didn't skip. It stood there for 11 seconds. Then the screen jumped forward. When the video resumed, written into the dust along the base of the wall was a single word. Hello. I didn't finish my shift. I shut down my workstation and sat in the dark, listening to my apartment hum and settle like it always did. I told myself it was stress, sleep deprivation, pattern recognition gone wrong. The next morning, I had an email from my supervisor. They asked why I'd accessed archived footage from 3 years ago. I hadn't. Attached to the email was a still frame, camera 14, same hallway, same timestamp, different date. And written along the wall in the same uneven lettering was a different message. You see us now. I took the rest of the week off. I told my supervisor I was dealing with a family issue, which wasn't entirely a lie. I just didn't know yet that I was the family issue. For the first 2 nights, nothing happened. I slept during the day, kept my apartment lights on at night, and tried not to think about timestamps or hallways or things that stood still when they noticed you watching. The third night, I woke up at 2:13 a.m. I didn't check the clock right away. I didn't need to. My body already knew. My phone was face down on the nightstand, vibrating softly like it was receiving notifications. When I flipped it over, there were none. No missed calls, no messages. The vibration stopped the moment the screen lit up. That's when I noticed the sound. A faint electrical hum. Not loud enough to pinpoint, but steady. Familiar in a way that made my stomach tighten. It was the same low noise the warehouse lights made before they flickered. I followed it into my living room. The television was off. The router lights were normal. Nothing in the apartment should have been making that sound. It was coming from my hallway. I live alone in a one-bedroom apartment. Short hallway, bathroom on the left, bedroom at the end. No doors, no closets, no reason for it to feel longer than it was. That night, it did. The floor felt colder halfway down. Not drafty, just cold, like concrete instead of laminate. When I turned on the hall light, it flickered once before staying on. The walls looked the same. The hallway didn't. It felt stretched. Not visually, structurally. I stepped forward and counted my paces. 1, 2, 3, 4. I should have reached the bedroom door. I didn't. I was still in the hallway. I turned around. The living room was farther than it should have been. I backed up slowly until my heel hit the couch. The moment it did, the hallway snapped back to normal length. The hum stopped. The light steadied. I slept on the couch with every light on. The next day, I logged into my work system out of habit, not intention. My access should have been suspended. It wasn't. Camera 14 was already open. The feed was live. The hallway looked different. The walls were closer together. The lights were dimmer. And standing at the far end, right in front of the fire exit, was a tall, narrow thing facing away from the camera. It didn't move. The timestamp read 2:13 a.m. Current time. I checked my clock. 2:13 a.m. The shape shifted. Not walking, adjusting, like it was aligning itself. The camera feed flickered, and for a split second I saw something that made my chest tighten. The hallway wasn't empty behind it. There were more shapes, pressed into the walls, not breaking through, just close enough to be seen, like shadows trapped under concrete. My apartment lights flickered. The hum returned, louder now. I closed the laptop. The moment I did, something knocked on my bathroom door. One knock, soft, careful. I didn't move. The knock came again, closer to the hinge, like someone testing the bore's strength. Then a sound I recognized immediately. The click of a security camera adjusting focus. I don't have security cameras in my apartment. My phone vibrated. A new notification. An email. No sender, no subject, just an attachment. A still frame. My hallway. Taken from above. The timestamp burned into the corner. 2:13 a.m. and written along the baseboard in uneven letters that looked pressed rather than written were 4 words. We're closer than before. The bathroom door handle turned. Slowly. Carefully. Like whatever was on the other side had learned how doors worked. I didn't open the bathroom door. I stayed on the couch until morning, staring at the hallway, waiting for something else to test its understanding of the apartment. Nothing did. The hum faded just before sunrise, like it had a schedule to keep. I quit my job that morning. No explanation, no notice. I unplugged my work laptop, powered it down, and drove it straight to the office Dropbox. I didn't look at camera 14 again. For a while, that worked. I moved apartments, different side of the city, older building, fewer electronics. I took a day job that didn't involve screens or timestamps or watching things that didn't know they were being watched. For 6 weeks, everything felt normal. I stopped waking up at 2:13. I stopped measuring hallways. I almost forgot. Then, one afternoon, my phone buzzed while I was at work. A calendar reminder. I hadn't created it. The title was just numbers. 2:13. No date, no notes. I deleted it. It came back the next day, and the next, always set for 2:13 a.m. I powered my phone off at night. I unplugged the modem. I started sleeping with a lamp on, like light could still convince things to stay where they belonged. One night, curiosity won. I stayed awake. At 2:12, everything was quiet. At 2:13, the apartment settled. Not like normal settling, not creaks or pops, but a slow, deliberate shift,
like weight redistributing itself. The air thickened. The sound came back. That same electrical hum. My apartment light flickered once. I stood up. I don't know why. Part of me still believed that if I faced it directly, it would stop pretending. The hallway looked normal. Same length, same walls. Until I stepped into it. The floor was cold again. Concrete cold. I took 4 steps. 5, 6. The bedroom door didn't get closer. I turned around. The living room was farther than it should have been. And this time it didn't snap back. The hum grew louder. The walls darkened like shadows bleeding through from the inside. I pressed my hand against the wall, and for just a moment it pressed back. Not a hand. Something flat. Wide. Patient. The air behind me shifted. I didn't turn around. I didn't need to. I could feel it aligning itself again, the same way it had in the footage, adjusting to the space, learning the dimensions. A voice came from
behind me. Not loud, not threatening. Curious. "You stopped looking," it said. The voice sounded wrong, like it had practiced on recordings before using it out loud. I asked what it wanted. There was a pause. Then, "To be counted." I understood then. The timestamps didn't skip because of glitches. They skipped because something was moving through spaces that weren't meant to exist all at once. Spaces between walls, between seconds. Camera 14 wasn't special. It was just the place where the overlap was thin enough to notice. People like me weren't chosen. We were noticed. The hallway behind me shortened. The living room came closer. The walls relaxed. The pressure lifted. I stumbled forward and collapsed onto the carpet, gasping like I'd been underwater. The hum faded. The lights steadied. Everything went back to normal. Almost. That was 3 months ago. Nothing has followed me since. No knocks, no emails, no drawings. But every now and then, when I wake up at night, my phone screen is on. A notification waiting. A reminder I don't remember setting. 2:13. And sometimes, when I walk down a hallway I know too well, I swear it feels longer than it should, just for a second. If you're listening to this, and you work nights, if you review footage, if you ever notice time skipping without explanation, stop watching. Some things only exist when they're observed, and once they know you can see them, they start making room for you. If you've stayed until the end, thank you for listening. Stories like this are shared anonymously on the Veiled Narrator, where voices remain hidden and experiences are told exactly as they were lived. If you have a story you've never been able to explain, one that followed you longer than it should have, you're not alone. Subscribe to hear more, and if you're ready to share your story, check our email address in the description below.